What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to this series in which I discuss what it's like building a podcast from ground up here in Bali, Indonesia. I'll cover a raw update on my life, on anything out here, top performing content from those previous week, top 3 insights from my previous podcast, and then the week over week metrics on the platforms which I'm aiming to grow. And the update here is more so just on what it means to simplify a message and communicate exactly what it is that you need to do without overcomplicating it. I recorded an episode like this yesterday and I shared it with my 2 friends, and the feedback was strong and that I was rambling too much and I wasn't getting to the point, which I completely agree with, and I very often tend to do that, and so this is something that I'm going to be working on and improving. And the limitations that I've made are within a time frame is that I want to get each of these segments out within 60 to 120 seconds so that I don't have too much rambling and I can get directly to the point and be creative in that tiny segment. Cool. So top performing content and why from this last week. I had a guest the previous week named Matt Miller, Trades by Matt. And anything in the trading industry is really contentious. So there's people who absolutely fucking hate it and absolutely love it. So anything you put out is going to be consumed by both those parties. And this is exactly what happened with both of these things, both a mid-form video and a short-form video. The mid-form did quite well above the average of the typical views and watch time and subscribers that I get. And it was basically Matt just discussing, hey, this is what I see the future of trading to look like. And people heavily disagree with him, and then people also totally agree with him, and that of course will create interest by anyone on either side and they'll consume it. The second video, which was a reel, wasn't as controversial. It was more so just an opinion on one of the hardest things in life is actually keeping money. Making it isn't too difficult. It's a matter of knowing where it is that you want to put your money so that then returns dividends for you or returns investment for you. So both pieces of content were with Matt. They did well. Very happy with that. In general, all the content put out with Matt was incredible. It boosted my subscribers by about 300 folks, and then my watch time went up by about a quarter, which is quite incredible. So on Instagram, the top performing piece of content that I produced was a reel with my most recent guest, Crew Mahoney, and it did well because of a number of reasons. Firstly, Crew expresses a strong opinion on something, saying that it's not the fitness plan that is the problem. It's probably you and your attitude towards that fitness plan. So you can change the fitness plan as much as you want, but ultimately, if you don't show up for yourself every single day, then you're not going to improve. So he expresses a really strong opinion, and that alone made it so that the content was shared quite a lot. And then he himself shared it on his story, which is great. So he has about 400,000 followers, and then from that, got a ton of engagement. And then with my own follower base on Instagram, whenever I produce something that is new, then there's high engagement from people who are my own followers. And so it's just a novelty component that whenever they see something new or anyone sees something new, then they'll engage with it. I'm the same way. So it's interesting human nature. Cool. And then the top 3 insights that I learned from the conversation that I had with Crew was, firstly, don't idolize. So when you see someone who is in an industry or doing something that you want to do, don't idolize them, admire them. When you idolize them, you put them in a completely different stratosphere than where you could ever reach, when in reality, the only difference between you and that person is probably just time and effort put towards that thing that it is that you want. So don't idolize, admire. Number 2, the biggest myth in fitness is that it's the plan that is broken, similar to the reel that did super well, and that stop trying to change things externally. If you want to improve something, look on the inside and see why is it that you are making excuses to not get that body that you want, to eat that food that's healthy for you, to build that business that you want. Don't look to changing your external circumstances. First, look inside and see what you can repair there. Cool. And then the last thing I learned is that slow growth is good and instant virality is bad. So you often hear of one-hit wonders in any industry, typically in the music industry, and that once they put that out, then they completely disappear from from creativity or from anything. They have that one song and then they are done. And it's the same thing with content creation, is that it's such an interesting game in the beginning of the journey, where you are needing to find out, okay, what's this creative identity that you have? Is the content that you are initially producing what you actually want to produce? Or is it you just trying to express and get things out there initially? And so when you become viral within the first few months of creating, it does two things. It makes it so you don't really have a base to fall back on creatively. And then two, it gives you the wrong expectation that what it is that you're producing should always perform at nuclear stratosphere status of instant fame. So when you produce something that does not do that well, you get very discouraged, and then it could result in burnout. So slow growth is really good. Build your foundation, fall back on it once you start to get notoriety, and it'll do very well for you. Crew did not hit any form of fame until he was actually 900 posts in. And as soon as he did his 900th post, he found insane virality and went from 7,000 followers to like 250,000. So really interesting there. Cool. And then lastly, the metrics, the week over week metrics. So the biggest thing that I'm aiming for is monetization on YouTube currently. It requires 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. And in both of those respective metrics, I'm sitting at 711 subscribers and 2,470 watch hours. And then on Instagram, there's no metric for getting monetized. It just comes from brand deals essentially, but still I want to have a milestone there to aim for, which is similar to the subscriber base. I want to get 1,000 followers, and with that number, I'm sitting at 671. Cool. Thank you all for watching. See you next week.